right, up this week, A Quiet Place. Now, before we get into it, because sure enough, I was sure there was going to be some controversy surrounding this film, and of course, because we have to ruin all the things it is now, it's offended people. Before we get into that, right away, the rating, we both give this a mugs up.
Mugs up.
2 mugs up,
sure.
A Quiet Place.
Wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. We both enjoyed it. I'll get into what I liked about it, what I didn't. Basically, I will say this, there could be some spoilers here. We're going to try and avoid it, but we can't make any promises.
No.
Because the second we do issue a spoiler, it's going to be just lighten up the comments section.
And
but
if you haven't seen it by now, you're...
No, well, there are plenty of people who haven't seen it, but I don't know. I don't know if it gets to China or not. I have no idea.
Probably not.
I have no idea. But you can leave your comment. What did you think of the film? If you liked it, if you didn't, and are you aware of the controversy surrounding it? Let's bring it up. Sven Computer, the controversy now. People not necessarily thrilled with what they see as a pro-gun message, pro-life message, the regressive politics.
They hate
of the
all
film.
the things.
This is just, and I knew it was coming because as soon as I walked out of the film and we talked about this, all of these criticisms, by the way, from the left and these blogs, and here's the thing. Krasinski's he's a liberal, and so is his wife, Emily Blunt. So you know they'll probably be on an apology.
I think she said some things about like not like in America before. I think
she's been pretty open about it. So you don't want to flip-flop on whether you don't like stars and you don't like their art or their performances based on their politics. The point is, this is not something that they expected. I don't think they set out to make a movie like this. That being said, if you're looking for it, all of those criticisms would be valid.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this. The film, let's cycle through them. It absolutely, for people who've criticized it for being too pro-gun, it is. It could be seen as very pro-gun. Namely because how else do you kill giant monster creatures with superhuman hearing? If the film were anti-gun, it would be a pretty short movie. So when you watch this film, I was watching it with my producer Johnny Boy. I said, "Yeah, this film does seem pretty pro-gun. It absolutely does. If you're watching it, you can. There's no other way to take it. Jared, you can come. We can roll those clips there afterwards. But what did you see this when you watched the film?
I did. I was really aware, like the whole way through. I'm like, there's so many angles they could have taken to get out of it too.
Yeah,
like the pro-life message. I'm like, they didn't have to have a baby.
That's another one too. It was absolutely pro-life. Spoiler alert. Emily Blunt is pregnant, and so this is a major spoiler. So major spoiler alert. 3, 2, got it? Okay, good. She opts to give birth while there's one of these, in this sort of, I guess you'd say, I guess it's the climax of the film.
Yeah.
Giving birth with this monster thing in the house, having to stay quiet, going through the pain of protecting her kin, and actually they build a box for the baby to live in, and they give it a whole oxygen tank so that the baby, if it cries, it won't be heard, and these people won't be killed. Kind of reminiscent of sort of babies who would cry in the Holocaust. You've heard those stories.
Yep.
The very first scene in the film was at a pharmacy. They could have taken a litany of poison.
That's what I'm like. There's a million ways they could have gotten out of that situation, but they didn't.
Right.
Which, I mean, does it lend up to the movie? Sure, but it seemed intentional.
Well, it overall can certainly be seen as a pro-life message. Certainly, listen, this is kind of more so it's tossing heaping coals on the head, salt on the wound, pro-family, pro-Christian. I don't think it's necessarily actively those things. Again, none of this is proactive, but they do pray at dinner, and it's not mocked, which is very rare for a film. So I could see how, again, we're watching it going like, oh, they're just saying a prayer before dinner, and that's it.
Yeah,
whereas I can see someone at Salon watching it going, they're saying a prayer before dinner, and that's it?
It better be Allah on the other line.
There better be a commentary about how pedophiles aren't monsters on the next reel. When I see those burn marks, I want to see some kind of gender non-conforming pedophile. And it was pro-family just through the mere fact that the father was taking care of the family, and this was a tightly knit family. So yeah, pro-gun, pro-life, pro-family, I can see it. Certainly pro-patriarch.
Absolutely.
This is one thing, absolutely. This is it is almost, I mean, I could see how the left could see it, almost comical. This is the quintessential patriarchal family
strong
system.
Father figure.
It's never seen as a negative, by the way.
No.
And here's something else that's very important to note. It's still a very strong female character.
Absolutely.
This isn't a woman. This isn't a fake, atomic blonde hitting someone with a stiletto, which would do absolutely zero other than piss somebody off. This is a strong female character who, spoiler alert, takes out some of the monsters, is basically a mama bear protecting her children, but also
goes through hell herself too.
Goes through hell absolutely herself and comes out stronger, but is submissive, kind of in like the biblical sense, to her husband, in the sense that the husband says, "Listen, I'm going to go do this. Get this done, take care of the kids this way, then I'm going to go do this. I need you to stay here and do A, B, C, and D." If she were a feminist, it'd be a short movie. If the wife were to question everything the husband says, it would be a short movie. And at no point do you sense that there's any kind of animosity because of a strong father figure who's trying to provide.
No.
And it's not as though she's weak and she's a secondary character. This is what we call, as Christians, complementarianism.
Yep.
They're both equally important, but they serve two different purposes. And I can absolutely see how if someone on the left were watching this film, they would see a pro-patriarchy message, because It's kind of there. And this is one thing I will say, this is kind of proof positive that I've talked about this, that conservatives and sort of right-wing ideas make for better films. If you think about all the things that make, look at the top movies of all time. I can bring that up. Conflict, good and evil, justice, personal responsibility, overcoming adversity. These are themes that we've always talked about on the right that we believe in. And these are themes that people really resonate with if you look at a lot of the films that have done really well when Hollywood can't fully understand it. This is why there's now a disconnect between the awards films and the films that people go and see. Now, there is popcorn crap as well.
Absolutely.
And I would not say this is
a lot of it.
I would not say this is popcorn crap.
No.
This is a good film. But that's, I think, why there's an increasing disconnect between the entertainment industry and people in the United States.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Can you imagine for a second a film like this, if the characters in the movie acted the way leftists advocated? So you have self-sacrifice, for example, from the main actor, John Krasinski. I forgot his name in the film. Basic white guy name. Yep. To save his children and his baby. Would have been way easier to abort the baby, of course. If there's no good and evil, no conflict, who cares about the film? These films like this, the films that people really resonate with, it's not only about overcoming adversity and personal responsibility, but it's about overcoming adversity. It's human nature. This is kind of an irony that we've talked about, where people who are upset about this patriarchy, or people talk about gender societal conditioning. Films are very reflective. They're supposed to kind of play on emotional strings. That's what they're designed to do. Particularly a scary movie. Fear is a very basic, primal, emotive response. It's a very visceral, emotive response to an emotion. And then it translates to actions, how people act out of fear. And in this case, the only people trying to recondition anyone are the people saying that all of gender, that all of our basic instincts are societally conditioned. The people trying to recondition are people saying, oh, listen, toxic masculinity, like with this film. No, this is very basic. A man wants to go out and sacrifice himself for his children. A man wants to go out, be a hunter-gatherer, protect his children. And guess what? A mom wants to protect and nurture. Yeah. This is why it resonates with people, because you watch it and you feel something really deeply going, oh my God, what if that were my kid? Oh my gosh, what if you're a kid going, what if that were my dad? Or you're going, oh my God, what if I were pregnant? Women watch it and go, oh my God, she's pregnant, and they feel that. It resonates with them. And we're told from the left that this is societal conditioning, while they are, in fact, trying to recondition us. They're trying to recondition us from our most basic instincts. You find the Hutu tribesmen out in the plains of whatever country that doesn't even exist, so don't try and fact check that. You're going to see fathers protecting, hunting, gathering, and mothers being nurturing, and mothers being violently protective of their babies. And that's what you see in this film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's... I think you're going to see people look for a groundswell of unhappy people retroactively giving negative reviews now, and probably an apology tour from John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, because, like I said, you see all it takes is one review, and then you find 8.
Well, yeah, today's backstreet blogs are tomorrow's HuffPo front page. So
right,
I think you're going to see that start small, start little, and then just explode into
exactly. Where people are going to go, well, you know what, they might have a point, and then they're going to have breakout panels, about the PTSD that occurred from people watching this, because they felt as though this woman, she was obligated to bear the child. Like, it really does hit on that. And I will say, one film that is just the most blatantly pro-life film that I've seen in a long time is Brawl in Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn. I can't believe that was an accident. But I do think it's a lot easier for leftists to accidentally make conservative films. You don't really see the opposite. Again, it's really easy to make a film that deals with conflict, personal responsibility, that deals with overcoming adversity. Look at every single big film that people love. This is the triumph of the human condition. That's what makes movies interesting. Successful liberals, if you look at John Krasinski or Emily Blunt, they're liberals. They haven't lived with the views they've espoused. No. Guarantee you John Krasinski got rejected. No. It's a tough racket to be an actor like that. That guy failed, picked himself up by his bootstraps, and is a rugged individualist. He just doesn't necessarily believe that everybody else can do it.
Yeah, nobody who's been successful lives by the rules of the world.
You can't.
You can't. It's impossible. It's self-defeating.
Yeah, exactly. And people create, this is another human instinct. People create teams, people create villages, they want to have communities, but they want to be independent. Human beings naturally do not want to be dependent on another human being. That's not a triumphant story. It's not a triumphant story for someone to walk in and get a handout and that's the end of the film. It's a triumphant story for the man to overcome adversity, or someone to not overcome adversity and someone else to carry that torch, as you see in this film. So I will say about this movie, just as far as why I really liked it, it was scary. It was paced well. Yep. The acting was really good. It was well directed. But I will say this, it is absolutely a series of gimmicks after another that are very effective. I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way, but you remove that and you remove the ability for the film.
Gimmick sounds a little pejorative, though.
Yeah. I definitely mean it in a way. Like, someone sat down and was like, okay, how can we kind of manipulate the audience with these I would say crutches a little bit, but they use them well.
I'm so silent. I want to stab people around me eating popcorn. I want to stab myself eating popcorn.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine.
quiet.
Yeah. What did you? So, what? Any thoughts? You just beyond yes or no?
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay.
I made it to the clouds.
Thanks.
Drugs.
I appreciate your contribution there, not gay Jared. No, I do think that absolutely, it's a film worth seeing. It's kind of gimmicky, and it's like you know the basic premise, right? Of course, people have to be quiet. Okay, then you find out why. And then each scene is, okay, maybe there's a flooding scene. Maybe there's, now there's a superhuman hearing. Maybe this person doesn't have any hearing. And so it is a use of gimmicks for scares. But I will tell you, what makes you really appreciate a film like this is when you watch it and then you go watch a terrible scary movie.
Oh, yeah.
You go and watch a scary movie that doesn't work at all. You realize just how hard it is to do. So 2 mugs up for A Quiet Place. Hey, did you enjoy this video? Here's the thing, you're here, this is the end of it, so we don't care because you already watched it. But if you really didn't like it and you want to justify it, leave a comment below telling us why you didn't like the video. And if you liked us, let us know. And subscribe to the channel, because that lets the overlords at YouTube know that, you know what? You're all right.